Hey, this is the video lesson for Chapter 1, Lesson 5 on graphing ratio tables. In Lesson 4, you learned how to make ratio tables. Now you're going to learn how to graph them on a coordinate plane. So let's do some vocabulary. First, it says the coordinate plane is formed when two perpendicular number lines intersect at their 0 points. Now, perpendicular means they form right angles. So think of this as perpendicular. And that forms an ordered pair. So the point is called the origin. So origin is where the 2 points meet, marked by that red dot. The horizontal number line is called the x-axis. Remember, horizontal goes this way. That's the x-axis. And the vertical number line is called the y-axis. Vertical is this way, so that's the y-axis. An ordered pair, such as 2, 3, is a pair of numbers used to locate a point on the coordinate plane. All right, this is fill in the blanks with the highlighted words from above. So we'll go through. Let me zoom in so we can see it a little better. Now, this whole thing here is called the coordinate plane. So we're going to write that down on top. Make sure you're doing this in your book. And if you notice here, they usually give you the label to tell you that this vertical line is the y-axis. And you see down here is the x, so this horizontal line is called the x-axis. Now, here is an ordered pair. It's coordinates. And if you notice down here, this is pointing right to where the y and x-axis meet. That is the origin. That's where you always start before you're graphing. Now, let's go on to the next page. So, graphing an ordered pair. We're going to start with this. This is kind of a review from what you've been doing for years. So, let's do, there's a little more vocabulary at the top here. So, it says, you can use an ordered pair to name any point on a coordinate plane. The first number in the ordered pair is the x-coordinate, and the second number is the y-coordinate. So, this is the x-coordinate, this is the y-coordinate. And sometimes it's a good idea to write this like this, x, comma, y. All right, continuing here. You can express information in a table as a set of ordered pairs. To see patterns, graph the ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. So let's show you how this works. Okay, first, in example 1. Okay, it says, the table shows the cost in dollars to create CDs of digital photos at a photo shop. The table also shows this information as ordered pairs. And this here, I'm going to highlight it, is important because it kind of tells you what each number is. So, see, it says number of CDs, comma, cost in dollars. That means the first number in the ordered pair is the number of CDs. The second number, the y-coordinate, is the cost in dollars. So, number of CDs, 1, 2, 3, cost in dollars. So this means 1 CD costs $3, 2 CDs cost $6, 3 CDs cost $9. And you could write these numbers as an ordered pair, 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 9. Now in number 1, it says graph the ordered pair. So remember here, if I have the coordinates, so 1, 3, that means you always start here. Remember, this is called the origin. You go over for the first coordinate, so over to the 1, and then up to the second coordinate, up 3. Okay, for 2, 6, this is our second one we have to graph. We're going to go over to the 2, up to the 6. And for our third one, 3, 9, start at the origin, over to the 3, up to the 9. Now, in number 2, it says to describe the pattern. So we're looking at this pattern here, and I notice as it goes, it's kind of starting at the origin, a nice straight line. So when we describe it, we'll read down here in example 2. The points appear in a line. Each point is 1 unit to the right and 3 units up from the previous point. So the cost increases by $3 for every CD created. So when it asks you to describe the graph, or describe the pattern in the graph, this is what it's looking at. The cost increases by $3 for every CD created. So check this out for a second. Number of CDs. So you create a CD. Remember, this is 1. The cost goes to $3. This is 3. 2 CDs, 6. So it's another CD, another $3. Another CD, another $3. That's what this means. The cost increases by $3 for every CD. All right, now, here's what you're going to do. You are going to do A and B on your own. It says the table shows Gloria's earnings for 1, 2, and 3 hours. The table also lists this information as ordered pairs, hours earnings. So if you look over here, 1 hour, she earns $5, dollars earned, and the ordered pair is 1, 5. Now you're going to do 2 things. First thing, in A, you're going to graph those 3 ordered pairs over here. And after you graph it, you're going to describe the pattern. Now when you describe it, I want you to use this sentence as a model sentence. I mean, don't write it down exactly because it's a different situation, but use it as a model for B. Now when you write your answer to B, you can either write it over here or you can write it underneath where you have more room. So try A and B, pause the video while you're doing it, and when you're done doing it, hit play and check your answer compared to what I get. All right, go ahead. Okay, let's see how you did. So I'm going to start by graphing these 3 ordered pairs that I just highlighted in yellow. And I'm going to start with 1, 5. So I have 1, 5, 2, 10, and 3, 15. Let me zoom in. So 1, 5 should be over to the 1, up to the 5. Now the 5's got to be between the 4 and the 6. So right there is going to be 1, 5. Oop, let me change to a better color. 2, 6 over, or I'm sorry, 2, 10. 2, 10 should be there. And for 3, 15, over 3, up 15 should be right there. Okay, so check and see if your dots are in the right spot. And I'm even going to write those down. So I had 1, 5, 2, 10, and 3, 15. All right, now when it said to describe it, let me zoom out a little bit. Remember I said to use that sentence I have circled in red as a model. So remember that says, so the cost increases by $3 for every CD created. But we're not talking about CDs and dollars. We are talking about for every hour Gloria works, she earns $5. So this is an hour, this is $5. So that's what I'm going to write. Okay, I'll write it underneath here. So for each hour Gloria works, she earns $5. You do not need to have the words exactly like mine, but yours should be the gist of it. You could say for every hour worked, she earns $5. I mean, or she earns $5 for every hour worked, something like that. If you don't, you're going to want to change your answer and fix it. All right, let's go on to the next page. We have a couple more examples. Now in these you're going to be comparing ratio tables. So you're actually going to be doing 2 ratio tables at once. So let's start at the top. It says 2 friends are making scrapbooks. Renee places 4 photos on each page in her scrapbook, and Gina places 6 photos on each page in her scrapbook. In example 3, it says to make a table for each scrapbook that shows the total number of photos placed if each book has 1, 2, 3, or 4 pages. List the information as ordered pairs. So what I just did is I erased all the numbers that are in the tables, and I know they're in your book, but I want you to watch how they came about. So I'm going to actually use underline and circle to figure out, because there's 2 people. There's Renee. Remember, we've got Renee's scrapbook, and we've got Gina's scrapbook. So let's start with Renee. Remember, it says Renee places 4 photos on the page, right? Gina places 6 photos on a page. So we are starting here with Renee. Now it also says if each book has 1, 2, 3, or 4 pages. So here's what that means. See how this is pages? That means each book has 1, 2, 3, and 4 pages. Same thing with Gina's. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's work with Renee's. Now remember here it says Renee places 4 photos on each page. So what that means is one page has 4 photos, and the ordered pair would be 1, 4. 2 pages, well, that would have 8 photos, because 4 plus 4 is 8. So that would be 2, 8. And I'll keep doing that. 3 pages would have 12, because I'm adding 4. 4, 8, 12 would be 3, 12. And 4 pages would have 16. 4, 16. I'm going to do the same over for Gina's, but remember, Gina, in blue here, it says Gina places 6 photos on each page. So one page has 6 photos, 1, 6. 2 would have 12, because 6 plus 6 is 12. 2, 12. And we'll keep doing that. 3 would have 18. And 4 would have 24. Now, in example 2, it says graph the ordered pairs for each friend on the same coordinate plane. So if we start with, let's say, Renee's, remember we have 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. Well, notice down here in blue, they have 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. So those blue dots are Renee's coordinates. For Gina, they graphed hers in red, so 1, 6, 2, 12. 1, 6 is here, 2, 12, 3, 18, 4, 24. Okay, so in example 4, they just graphed both of them. And notice they labeled their names so you know which is which. All right, and then one more example. Example 5. Here is where you're going to have to do a little bit of thinking. In example 5, it says, how does the ratio of photos to each page compare for each person? How is this shown on the graph? So I'm thinking before we read it. Remember, Gina put more photos on a page, right? So what did that do to her line? If you look, because both of them make a straight line. If you notice on a graph, that makes Gina's line kind of steeper. It goes more straight up. Renee's isn't as steep in blue. Okay, so let's see how they put that in words. And I'm going to have you circle in the example what they say, because you're going to use that as a model. You ready? It says the ratio of photos to pages for Renee's graphic is 4 to 1, while the ratio for Gina's is 6 to 1. On the graph, both sets of points appear to be a straight line, but the line for Gina is steeper than the line for Renee's. Okay, so this is going to be kind of your model. So when it asks you to compare, and remember, you don't have to have exactly this, but that's just a couple sentences in how you can compare the two graphs. All right, so I'm even going to write model. All right, so that's it for the examples. Now, if you just turn the page, remember here, if you were absent, you're going to be working on some problems. So I'll tell you, make sure you read the directions. So in number 1, it's going to tell you about what Marcus saves $10 a week and David saves $15 a week. So in 1, you're going to be graphing for Marcus and David. 2, or you're going to fill in the tables. 2, you're going to be graphing. And 3, you're going to be writing. Remember, for 3, use the model from example 5. That we use that to help you with this question down here. So this is a lot like examples 3, 4, and 5 on the previous page. All right, that's it for your video, so I hope that helped, and be ready, because if you're absent, I'm going to be checking these problems to make sure that you're understanding the lesson. All right, thanks a lot, guys.